Eli Park kept his mother's photograph on the corner of his desk. The frame was brass, older than he was. His coworkers learned her face before they learned his middle name. He did not post pictures of her online. He did not need to. She was simply there, the way a lamp is there, steady and warm. Camille Park kept her wedding portrait on the mantle. She rearranged the flowers beside it every Sunday. When her friends came over, she pointed at the portrait and laughed about her mother-in-law's toast. She did a passable impression. Her friends always laughed. Eli was usually upstairs when this happened, and she timed it so he was. For 9 years, Eli drove the same route on Sunday mornings, 41 minutes each way. His mother Rosalind made him coffee in a mug with a chipped rim. They talked about nothing in particular. He fixed the things in her house that needed fixing. Camille came along twice in the first year. Then she had brunch plans, every Sunday permanently. Camille called his mother difficult, to friends. To Eli, she called her sweet. She kept a list of the mother's slights on her phone, titled Notes. The list included the wedding toast, the comment about the ring, the lasagna incident, the color of the guest towels. She reread it on the bus sometimes and smiled at the screen. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday in April. Rosalind called him at work and did not cry. Stage 4, she said. In the pancreas, in the liver, in 2 places in her spine. She apologized for interrupting his day. He drove to her house that night. Camille said she would join him on the weekend. She did not. At Midtown PR, Priya Saldana noticed Eli across the lobby 2 weeks later. She had met him once at a firm mixer. He was her friend's husband. Camille's husband. Priya noticed he looked thinner. She waved. He waved back, polite, already past her. She thought nothing of it then. She would think of it later. Eli took family medical leave for 8 weeks. He slept in the guest room of his mother's craftsman. Hattie Calloway, Rosalind's neighbor of 30 years, brought soup 3 nights a week and did not ask questions. She had known Eli since he was 6. She called him sweetheart. She called Camille nothing at all. Camille posted a photograph of herself at a rooftop bar that month. The caption read, "Self-care is important even in hard seasons." 3 friends liked it inside the first minute. Priya scrolled past it on her lunch break and felt something turn slightly in her chest. She did not unlike or comment. She kept scrolling, but her thumb remembered. Rosalind died at 4:17 in the afternoon on a Thursday in September. Eli was holding her hand. A hospice nurse noted the time. He sat beside her for 40 minutes after without moving. Then he washed his face in the corridor bathroom and called his wife. Camille said she would come right home. She asked him what he wanted for dinner. Camille hung up the phone and stared at it for 3 seconds. Then she smiled. She opened her group chat with her 3 college friends. She typed 2 words and a wine glass emoji. The reply came before the screen dimmed. The second reply followed. The third included a gif of fireworks. Priya was leaving the office at 6:40 when Camille called her from the hallway. "Come by tonight," Camille said. "Bring Mateo, we are having people over." Priya asked what the occasion was. Camille laughed and said, "A long time coming." Priya hesitated. She said she would try. She drove home with the window cracked. Priya and her husband Mateo arrived at the Park townhouse at 9:15. The navy door was propped open. Music carried down the stoop. Through the front window, Priya counted 6 women in the living room, candles lit, a bottle of champagne already uncorked on the coffee table. She almost turned around. She told Mateo to wait in the car. He stayed in the car. Inside, Camille was pouring champagne. She did not see Priya enter. She raised her glass. "To the end of the longest 9 years," she said. Her friends laughed. One of them added, "To the witch finally cashing out." The room clinked. The champagne cork was on the rug beside the coffee table. Priya stopped in the doorway. Camille noticed Priya 10 seconds later. Her face did a quick rearrangement. She set down her glass. She crossed the room and hugged Priya and said, "Oh honey, it has been such a hard day. We are just decompressing." Priya did not hug back. Camille did not notice. Priya said she had forgotten something in the car. She walked out. In the car, Priya told Mateo every detail. He listened without interrupting. He asked her what she wanted to do. She said she did not know yet. She said she had met him once. He was a nice man. She said it was not her marriage. He did not argue. He did not agree. He said, "You will know by morning." Eli came home at 11:40. The house smelled of candles and champagne. Camille was in a silk robe, slightly flushed, hair still set from the evening. She asked him how it was. She said she was so sorry. She had wanted to come, but she had been overwhelmed. She offered him tea. He looked at the champagne flutes on the counter. She said her book club had stopped by. Eli said nothing about the flutes. He said he was tired. He went upstairs and sat on the edge of the bed for a long time without taking off his shoes. He did not cry. He thought about his mother's kitchen. He thought about the chipped mug. He thought about the way Camille had hugged him at the door with one arm. The funeral was on Saturday. Hattie Calloway sat in the second row and held a Kleenex she did not use. Camille wore black and dabbed at her eyes during the eulogy. Eli delivered the eulogy. He spoke for 4 minutes. He described his mother's kitchen. Hattie cried then, quietly. Camille did not. Priya did not come to the funeral. She was not invited. On Saturday afternoon, she sat at her kitchen table with her laptop closed and a yellow legal pad open. She wrote 3 words at the top. What I saw. She wrote for an hour. She stopped. She did not call him. Not yet. On Monday, Camille returned to work. By Tuesday, she was herself again. She told coworkers she was doing her best to support Eli through a hard time. Priya heard her say it in the break room. Priya did not look up from the microwave. She put her soup in for 90 seconds. She watched it spin. On Wednesday, Priya wrote a second page on the legal pad. On Thursday, she wrote a third. On Friday, she stopped writing and looked at what she had. Dates, quotes, the names of the friends, the toast, the robe, the hug. She closed the pad. She slept poorly that weekend. Eli began waking at 4 in the morning. He did not go back to sleep. He sat at the kitchen table in the dark and listened to the refrigerator cycle on and off. Camille did not wake. She slept deeply, the way people do who have finished a project. He noticed the sleep. He did not ask her about it. On a Saturday morning, 2 weeks after the funeral, Priya called the firm directory and got Eli's work extension. She wrote it on a sticky note. She did not dial. She put the sticky note in her wallet behind her license. She waited another 4 days. The call came on a Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. Priya asked if she could meet him somewhere away from both their offices. Eli said yes without asking why. They met at a diner on 8th Street. She ordered coffee she did not drink. He folded his hands on the table and waited. He was good at waiting. Priya told him what she had seen. She did not editorialize. She told him the date. She told him the time the cork was on the rug. She told him the line about the longest 9 years. She told him the line about the witch cashing out. She told him about the hug at the door. She slid the legal pad pages across the table. He read them twice. Eli did not cry at the diner. He thanked her. He asked her one question. He asked if anyone else at work knew. Priya said no. He nodded. He folded the pages into his jacket pocket. He left a 20 on the table for a coffee neither of them drank. He drove home. He did not go home. He drove past his mother's house and sat on the curb. That night he came home at 10. Camille was on the couch in the silk robe, watching a reality show. She asked where he had been. He said he had been at his mother's house. She said, "Still?" He said yes. She asked if he wanted anything. He said no. He went upstairs. He did not sleep. On Friday, Eli took the morning off work. He met with an attorney named Lassiter on the 14th floor of a gray building downtown. He brought the legal pad pages. He brought his marriage certificate. He brought the deed to the townhouse, which was in his name alone. He took notes in a small black notebook. He asked careful questions. He did not confront Camille. He did not raise his voice. He did not throw the flutes against the wall. He did not call her friends. He did not call her mother. He moved his mother's photograph from the bedroom to the guest bedroom. One afternoon while Camille was at work, he slept in the guest bedroom that night and every night after. Camille noticed on the 3rd night. She asked about it in the kitchen over pasta. He said he was not sleeping well and did not want to keep her up. She accepted this. He watched her accept it. She poured herself another glass of wine. She said she had missed him lately. He said he knew. Eli filed for divorce on a Tuesday in October. The papers arrived at her office by courier on Wednesday afternoon. She signed for them at reception. She opened them in a glass meeting room with the door closed. Her face did a thing it had not done in years. Priya was at her desk 3 rows away and did not look up. She called him 12 times that afternoon. He did not answer. She left 3 voicemails. The first was confused. The second was angry. The third was crying. He listened to each of them once. He did not call back. He went to a hardware store and bought a new deadbolt. He installed it that evening. Camille arrived home at 7. Her key did not turn. She stood on the slate stoop in heels for 11 minutes. She called him. He answered once. He said her bags were at the curb. They were. She sat on the stoop and cried in a way her friends had never seen. A neighbor across the street watched through a curtain and did not come out. She went to her friend Kelsey's apartment. Kelsey did not let her stay more than 4 nights. Camille had told a story at the party that Kelsey's husband overheard through the kitchen wall. The friend circle that had laughed at the toast got quieter each week. The group chat went 2 days without replies. Then 4. Then a full week. Hattie Calloway drove into the city on a Saturday and brought Eli a pan of soup. She stood in his kitchen and looked at the 3 champagne flutes on the counter, which he had not moved. She said nothing about them. She put her hand on his shoulder. She said, "Your mother was very proud of you." He held the counter with both hands and nodded. That night, Eli washed the flutes. He did not break them. He wrapped them carefully in newspaper. He put them in a donation box by the front door. In the morning, he dropped the box at a thrift store he did not normally go to. He did not keep one. He did not smash one. He did not look back at the box as he walked away. At Midtown PR, Camille began to spiral. She was late 3 times in 1 week. She snapped at an intern. She left a client meeting in the middle and did not return. HR asked her into a quiet office. She said she was going through a divorce. HR said they understood. HR also said they would need her to meet with them again next week. Priya heard about the HR meeting the way people hear these things. She did not tell anyone at work what she had seen. She did not need to. The story of the party had moved through the circle of Camille's college friends and their husbands, and the husbands' co-workers. Someone knew someone who worked in IT. Eli heard a version of this. He said nothing. Eli drove out to his mother's house every Sunday. He kept doing it. The key still worked. The jar of pressed leaves was still on the windowsill. He did not move it. He made coffee in the chipped mug. He sat at the kitchen table. Sometimes he brought Hattie a piece of banana bread. Sometimes he brought her nothing. She did not mind. Camille moved into a studio apartment above a dry cleaner. The windows rattled when trucks went by. She did not tell her friends the address. She bought a second-hand couch. She unpacked 3 boxes and left 2 closed in the corner. She told herself she was taking a sabbatical. The HR meeting the next Thursday went badly. Eli signed up for a pottery class at the community center. He had never taken a pottery class. He went because his mother had told him twice that he should do something with his hands that was not keyboards. His first bowl was lopsided. He kept it. He put it on the windowsill of his mother's kitchen, beside the jar of pressed leaves. Camille called him from the studio apartment one night in November at 10:30. He did not answer. She left a voicemail. In it, she said she had been thinking about his mother. She said she was sorry for how she had been. She said she knew she had not been a good partner. She did not mention the party. He did not return the call. In December, Camille was put on a performance improvement plan at work. She read the document in the glass meeting room. She signed it. Priya passed the meeting room on her way to the copier and did not look in. Camille saw her go by and did not knock on the glass. She had understood, now, that knocking was not available to her. Eli had dinner with Hattie every other Sunday now. She asked about his pottery. She asked about his work. She never asked about Camille. Once, over coffee, she said, "Your mother would say you look lighter." He said he felt lighter. He did not feel lighter in a way he could explain. He felt the opposite of what he had felt in September. That would do. Camille lost her job in January. The reason given was the performance plan. The real reason, she thought, was the story. She did not know which story. She knew which story. She did not file a complaint. She did not have grounds. She packed her desk into a file box. The security escort walked her out. Priya was at lunch when it happened. Priya heard about the walkout at 2:40. She did not feel triumph. She felt tired. She texted her husband Matteo one line. "It is over for her here." He replied, "You did the right thing. A long time ago." She put the phone face down. She drank her coffee. She went back to work. In February, the divorce finalized. Eli signed on a Thursday in Lassiter's office. He did not take half of the studio's rent and did not contest the division of joint accounts, which were modest. The townhouse was his. He kept it. He did not change the curtains. He did not paint the kitchen. He did not need to make the house forget her. She had not been in the house for months. Camille was living in the studio on savings. She had stopped calling her college friends. They had stopped calling her. She took a part-time job at a coffee shop in a neighborhood where she did not know anyone. Her manager was 23. Her uniform was a black apron and a cap. She did not tell her parents. Eli invited Priya and Matteo to dinner at the townhouse in March. He cooked. He was not a good cook yet. The chicken was slightly dry. Matteo ate 2 helpings on principle. Priya brought a small bouquet of winter flowers. They did not talk about the party. They did not need to. They talked about Matteo's nephew and about a movie. They laughed. Camille's father called in late March. He had heard. He did not yell. He said he was disappointed. She cried on the phone for 40 minutes. He said he would visit. He did not. He sent her a check in the mail for $400 and a note that read, "Call your mother." She did not. She cashed the check. She bought groceries and paid her phone bill. Eli started a small weekend project. He cleared a corner of his mother's kitchen. He built a low shelf there. He painted it white. He put 3 of his better pottery pieces on it. The lopsided bowl stayed on the windowsill. Hattie came to see the shelf the first Saturday it was up. She touched one of the pieces and said, "She would love this." He said, "I know." In April, Camille was fired from the coffee shop for being late. Her manager told her at the end of a shift. She said she understood. She walked out into the rain without an umbrella. She stood at a bus stop for 20 minutes with her apron balled up in her hand. She looked at her phone. The group chat was still silent. It had been silent since November. She called Eli from that bus stop. He did not answer. She did not leave a voicemail this time. She sat on the bench. The rain got worse. A bus came. She did not get on. Another came. She got on the second one. She went back to the studio. She ate crackers from a sleeve. She did not call her mother. Eli saw the missed call the next morning. He looked at it for a long time. He did not call back. He made coffee in the chipped mug. He went to work. He did not think about it at lunch. He did not think about it on the drive home. He thought about it that night for about 90 seconds while brushing his teeth. Then he did not. In May, Camille got a message from her college friend Kelsey. It was the first contact in 6 months. Kelsey said she was going to be in the city and wanted to grab coffee. Camille said yes immediately. They met at a cafe Camille could not afford. Kelsey said she had heard about the job. She said she was so sorry. She said she had to head out in 40 minutes. Kelsey left after 31 minutes. Camille stayed and finished the latte she could not afford. She tipped $5 she did not have. She walked home. She opened the studio door and stood just inside it for a long time. She looked at the 2 boxes in the corner. They were still closed. She sat down on the floor beside them. She did not open them. Eli met someone in June, a woman named Iris who taught the pottery class he took. She wore her hair in a long braid. She had a laugh like a low bell. They had coffee. They had coffee again. They had dinner. On the 3rd dinner, she asked him about the brass-framed photograph she had seen at his house. He told her all of it. She listened without interrupting. She did not perform sympathy. Camille wrote Eli a letter in July. She did not type it. She wrote it by hand on a sheet torn from a notebook. She said she had been wrong. She said she had been cruel without understanding it. She said she missed him. She said she missed his mother. She did not mention the toast. She did not mention the wine glass emoji. She folded the letter 4 times. She mailed it. The letter arrived at the townhouse on a Tuesday. Eli found it in his mail. He recognized her handwriting before he read the return address. He carried it inside. He set it on the kitchen counter. He made coffee. He drank the coffee. He did not open the letter. He looked at it once more and then put it in a drawer in the hallway. The drawer had nothing else in it. He did not open it that week. He did not open it that month. He did not open it in August. He did not open it in September on the anniversary of his mother's death. Hattie came to the townhouse that weekend and cooked him dinner. Iris came over later. They did not know each other. They got on quietly. The drawer stayed closed. Camille waited for a reply for 2 months. Every day she checked her mailbox. Every day the box was empty or contained bills or coupons. In October, she stopped checking daily. In November, she stopped checking weekly. By December, she had stopped checking at all. She understood then what the silence meant. She did not write a second letter. Eli took Iris to his mother's house in October. He had not taken Camille there more than twice in 9 years. He and Iris stood in the kitchen. He showed her the jar of pressed leaves. He showed her the lopsided bowl. He showed her the chipped mug. Iris did not touch anything. She put her hands in her pockets. She said, "She sounds like a lovely woman." He nodded. In late October, Eli finally opened the drawer. He took out the letter. He sat at the kitchen table at his mother's house. On a Sunday morning, in the chair he always sat in. He did not open the letter. He looked at it for a long time. He put it on the counter. He made coffee. He drank the coffee. He went home. He did not take the letter with him. Hattie found the letter on the counter the next Wednesday when she came by to check on the house. She did not open it. She moved it to the drawer in the hallway buffet, the one Rosalind had always kept pens in. She mentioned it to Eli on Sunday. He said, "That is a fine place for it." She said nothing else about it. Neither of them mentioned it again. Camille enrolled in a community college course in January the next year. She did not tell her parents. She did not tell Kelsey. She did not tell anyone. She sat in the back row of a bookkeeping class and took notes with a cheap ballpoint. She was older than every other student. Her hand cramped from writing. She went home to the studio. She did her homework at the small table. She was not redeemed. She was not absolved. She was a woman doing homework at a small table. She thought about Rosalind sometimes. She did not write another letter. She did not call him. She understood, finally, that what she had done did not have a repair. It had a consequence. The consequence was that she was here, alone, at a table, at 36. That was the shape. On a Saturday in February, Eli and Iris painted the kitchen of his mother's house. They did not paint it a bold new color. They painted it the same butter yellow it had always been. The old paint had chipped by the switch plate. Hattie came over with lemonade. The three of them worked through the afternoon. They got paint on their wrists. They laughed about nothing funny. That night, Eli and Iris drove back to the city. He held her hand in the passenger seat at the stoplights. Priya and Mateo were coming over at 7 for dinner. Hattie had sent a pan of soup in a cooler in the back seat. The light at Cedar was red. Eli watched it turn green. He did not say anything. He did not need to. The car moved forward into the evening. Priya and Mateo arrived at 7 sharp. Iris opened the door. The four of them had pasta and Hattie's soup and a loaf of bread Eli had bought on the way home. Priya told a story about her toddler nephew that made everyone laugh. Mateo told one that made everyone laugh harder. Eli lit the candles on the table and sat down. The seat beside him was filled. After dinner, Eli walked Priya and Mateo to the door. He thanked them for coming. Priya stopped on the slate stoop and turned and said, "Your mother would have liked this." He nodded. He closed the door behind them. The navy door clicked shut. He turned and went back into the warm yellow light of his kitchen. Iris was at the sink, humming. On the counter, the old brass-framed photograph had a new companion. A smaller silver frame beside it held a picture from the pottery studio. Eli and Iris, clay on their forearms, laughing. His mother's picture was not hidden. The new picture was not louder. They sat beside each other on the counter like two rooms of the same house. Iris dried a plate. The kettle had just gone on. Across the city, in a studio apartment above a dry cleaner, a woman sat alone at a small table with a textbook open. Her phone lay face down on the counter. It did not ring. It would not ring. In the hallway of a townhouse she no longer lived in. The letter she had written 2 summers ago sat in a wooden drawer beside a handful of ballpoint pens. It was not opened. It would not be opened. The drawer stayed closed. The kettle across town began to whistle.